Welcome back to the Grind and Thrive podcast, where we talk all things fitness, mindset, and navigating life. And today I've got a special guest, Rian Corbin, my original massage therapist. He also helped me get into the PT industry, so he's a bit of a legend. So, Rian, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
So, about myself, it's interesting. So, I always start with athletics is like my love, really. Got into sprinting when I was quite young. It's been a big part of my life, and I've used a lot of what I've learned from that into growing my business. So, I've always been into sport. I like a lot of sport, so F1, football, tennis, athletics. That's a big part of my life actually, which is kind of what led me to wanting to be a PT. And then I sort of passed myself and moved into therapy, grew that way, and ended up learning the very hard lesson of how to grow a business as a self-employed person.
Perfect. So what made you transition from being a PT into the therapy industry?
Okay, so at the gym I used to work at, Rivers, which is now called the Atrium, I met someone there called Roddy Slater, and he encouraged me to be a PT because he had a similar background to me. He was an athlete, he was also a sprinter, and he said to me, while I think you can do well as a PT, I think you do really well in massage as well. And I was initially reluctant. I always tell people this story. I was like, no way, I don't want to do massage. I don't want to touch people's feet. I don't want to touch people. I don't want to touch people's bodies. I don't want to touch people. It's disgusting. People's sweat everywhere. It's horrendous. And he just looked at me and said, "All right, okay, no problem." But I thought it would be quite a useful tool after thinking about it for a while. So I rounded up all the money I had, all my savings, and paid for the course. And that's how I got into massage, basically. So, but I used to do them both as well. So I used to PT and massage. But I started to hate PT. Started to love massage, and then that's kind of what made me make the full transition.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What made you hate PT?
Oh dear. I come to this equation in my head after thinking about it for a long time. I've always said with face-to-face PT, for it to work, you need to have people who have money, time, and determination, and nobody has all three. And the people who do have all three already have a PT. So you're kind of working with your hands tied behind your back. But I managed to have a set of people, so I had some family members who were very, very good, and I had a couple of clients who were really good actually. But there's just a lot of clients who, how am I going to put this? They wanted something for nothing. They wanted to achieve really difficult goals without putting the work in, which used to irritate me. And then if they didn't achieve those goals, the first person they come shouting out or arguing with is me. So I'm like, what the hell? There was a lot of conflict, and it used to stress me out. And I didn't think I was getting many results either. So I also felt like a bit of a crook as well. And I've never really been about taking people's money. I'd rather help people than take people's money. And that's kind of what made me start to hate it. But you do get some good clients, but you also get bad clients, and then you get quiet periods as well. You get busy periods, but I felt the quiet periods were a lot longer than the busy ones. It wasn't my strength, PT, and I just decided to make the move away from it. But yeah, I did hate it. Yeah. With a capital H.
It's a tough industry, and also I always think you're going to do so much better in something that you enjoy and you're passionate in, rather than just trying to force yourself to do something that you don't like. And also, life's way too short to be miserable and force yourself to do things that you hate with a capital A.
Yeah, I did. I was miserable. Yeah, so I moved away.
So, how long have you been doing therapy now? Tell us about your business, how you've expanded it over the years, because you started in
2018. Yeah, so I become a PT in 2018, and it was late 2018 when I decided to do the massage course. So that's 7 years. So I did the course. It was a week course. 6 days, sorry, in London. That was very intense. Then, let's have a think about this. So how did I grow it? So when I started, when I was working at Rivers still, I used to just basically target friends or family, because I was kind of nervous. I thought, I don't really know what I'm doing. I've only just done the course. I don't feel comfortable charging people, so I was doing a lot of stuff for free, and it started to grow a lot better than the PT was, which kind of led me to think, okay, maybe I'm onto something here. So it went from 1 person to 2 to 4, maybe about 6, 7 people. Then I'd put the word out on Instagram and send some WhatsApps to people, and it grew that way. And it was actually going quite well alongside PT. It was kind of like it's like a side hustle, so to speak. So I was quite comfortable with it. And then it started getting a bit busier because Roddy, my mentor, my old manager, he started sending me his old clients, because he, after 25 years, had decided he had enough massage, he didn't want to do it anymore. So he started feeding people to me. I was using his old treatment room. So I had quite a good setup. And that takes us forward to 2020. Then lockdown happened. Yeah, COVID. Yeah, that was a mad one. That was fucking crazy. So basically, Boris shut us all down, shut everything down.
Yeah.
PT, gym, massage was a big no-no. So I was kind of just like, what do I do? I also hadn't been self-employed long enough to get I think it was the grants, the furlough payments. So I was like, shit, what do I do now? So I just basically sat on Xbox and gamed all day with my boys, which was great.
A little work holiday.
Yeah, it was great. We were just gaming all day, every day, Netflix. It was amazing. But I kind of was like, I do need a job. I do need to do something more productive. So I decided to drive for Sainsbury's, which I still do now. And the money I made from that is what basically helped me get this room. I was able to rent this room from 365 Gym, as it's called. And that is the start of how the business started to grow, because I'm going to fast track it massively. But basically what happened is I come into this room, I had to decorate it because it was absolutely disgusting. But then I went downstairs with my treatment bed and a Theragun, set up by the door, and just said, "Do you want a free massage?" And that's how it grew, basically.
And no one wants to say no to a free massage.
Correct. Yeah, that was I got a lot of work, but I basically threw myself out of my comfort zone to get myself to get it to grow that way, basically.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how important do you think throwing yourself out of your comfort zone is?
Yeah, that's a big. It's a big thing. I was thinking about this today, actually, about what I would say. But I'd say your comfort zone is the enemy of your success. Because, listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm this guy who is really confident and happy to go out and do all these things that initially make you feel uncomfortable. But I knew that if I didn't do those things, if I didn't make those decisions to essentially extract myself from my comfort zone, I wouldn't be able to grow. So I'm from Lower Early, Wokingham, went to school in that area. This is Tilehurst, so I didn't know anybody from here. I didn't have any school friends. I didn't have anybody here. So the only way I could have grown is to literally go downstairs with my treatment bed and stand by the gym door so when people are walking in and just, for want of a better word, antagonise them. Be like, "Hey man, how's it going? Do you want a massage?" Like, I was dying inside because I didn't want to be doing it. I was like, I'm so uncomfortable. This is not how I want to do things. It's not. They must think I'm an idiot. But if you don't take yourself out of your comfort zone, you just won't grow. So when I built the website, I didn't want to do that, but I knew if I didn't do that, I wouldn't grow. My Instagram, I always say to people, like, I'm just twerking for the media now. That's what I do. I'm putting so much stuff out there, like videos of treatments, pictures of shirts, whatever it may be. But if you don't push your socials, you don't grow. I used to print out flyers. I used to go to new builds and just put them through people's door. I see people looking out the window, basically telling me to fuck off. But I do. If you don't do these things, which make you feel uncomfortable, you don't grow. Some people do grow without doing that stuff. Some people grow from word of mouth. Some people grow from friends and family. There's all sorts of different things. But I personally felt the only way for me to grow is to just extract myself from my comfort zone and just do things which I really didn't want to do, things which made me feel like shit. But in the long run, it helps. It's a massive difference.
Yeah, and I definitely think it builds your own self-confidence.
Yeah.
To be able to do things going forward.
Yeah.
And just take on challenges without feeling imposter syndrome.
So, massively.
In fact, Rian actually encouraged me to get into the PT industry. I actually remember the conversation. We were doing a massage here, and I was telling you I was working at the Tesco warehouse at the time. And I was saying to you, I really like the gym. I am PT qualified, but I don't know. And I had a little bit of imposter syndrome.
I remember that.
Rian actually referred me onto the atrium, which is where I started my business.
That's where I used to work,
And grew from there. So you helped push me out of my comfort zone as well.
I did. And because you went to a school called Kendrick, which is anybody in Reading knows is a very high achieving school, and all the girls from Kendrick do really well. So in my head I was like, why the fuck is a Kendrick girl working in Tesco? Nothing against people working in supermarkets. I work in one too, but I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I had to extract you from there. So.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How important do you think it is to be surrounded by people that push you out your comfort zone like that? And also, how important do you feel like mentorship is? Because you've spoken about your mentor a lot.
Yeah, it's massive, huge. So I remember reading somewhere years ago that said, if you hang around with 5 millionaires, you'll become the sixth one. But if you hang around with 5 idiots, you'll become the sixth idiot. And basically what they're saying is you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And there have been times in my life when I've hung around people who weren't helpful to me. But not even in a negative way, like they're not bad people, but they just weren't as driven as maybe I could have been. They weren't as ambitious as I could have been, and it rubs off on you. And you don't really notice it until you extract yourself from that situation. And I didn't remove myself. I was basically forcibly removed. I just went on to do different things.
Yeah.
Started hanging around with people who were more like-minded, ambitious, and it just rubs off on you so much. There's been times when I was hanging around with a group of people who just love reading and love studying. I've never been the biggest reader, but they used to make me feel like a moron for not reading. So I just started reading more, and it's just little things like that. So that's a big part. I've always said, whoever you hang around with, really, really protect your circle, extract negativity, extract toxicity, because it just brings you down. So that's the first thing I'd say about that. But mentorship, I have to say, is for me, it's been so crucial and beneficial. If it wasn't for Roddy, I genuinely don't think this wouldn't be a thing. I wouldn't be here. I remember when I wanted to be a PT, and I walked up to him in his gym in Rivers, and I looked like a fucking mess. My hair was a joke. I just didn't look the part. But he gave me a chance. He said, "No, I'm gonna take a chance with you, and I'm gonna help you." And I just respect him because so many decisions in business I went to make. For example, coming here, buying stuff, buying the table. There's so many things like the website, flyers, booking system, anything. I've run it by him. And he'd tell me if he thought it was wrong, or he'd tell me if he thought it was right. And I'd probably say 99% of the time, he's always been the right decision. He's always guided me. He's also a big believer in making your own mistakes as well. I think that's important in life. You've got to make mistakes, but you also got to learn from them. If you keep making the same mistakes, then that's something you got to look at yourself. But mentorship is so important for me. If I could ring him now, ask him about a couple of things, and he'd pick up the phone, he'd advise me, but he'd also be the first to cuss me too if he thought I was doing something wrong. I remember there was a period of time when I was massaging and I wasn't taking notes. This is when I was very, very new. Very, very new. I think it was like a training stage. I was training, so I was working with friends and family. And he asked me about it. He goes, "How's it going? Stuff with your friends and family." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's good." And he went, "You taking notes?" And I was like, No, they're family. He just drilled me for 15 minutes. Now, what the hell are you doing? How do you not take notes? You need to protect yourself. But those kind of conversations, they shaped me. They helped me. If I didn't get someone telling me that, you'd learn the hard way. Because if I was, for example, established and I wasn't taking notes, that's I'd be fucked. So I'm glad he helped me with stuff like that. He always told me to, make sure you clean everything in front of the client, you keep your notes under lock and key. There's so many things, little things he taught me because he was in the industry for a long time, and it's to me his advice is like pearls of wisdom. And something he said to me, which I also agree with, is with mentorship, you need to have somebody who has been there and done that, and you respect them. Because, for example, if someone wanted to start their own, I don't know, clothing line, then I would advise they find a mentor who has a successful clothing line or had a successful clothing line, so then they would tell you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. And also, I think respect's a big thing too, because you need to have an element of respect for your mentor as well.
100%.
So, but I always advise people, get a mentor. They're helpful. They're only going to help you grow. So, take advice from people. You can learn. Every day's a lesson. You can learn from everybody. I always try and take things from different people. But mentorship's a big thing.
I always think it's important to have someone in your life that pulls you up. And says it how it is. Because I think, especially like you say, if you're in your comfort zone or around people that aren't like that, it's going to stagnate your progress.
Correct.
They'll just almost say what you want to hear because they don't want to come across as harsh or anything like that. They'll just say, "Oh, you're doing great. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to improve on anything. It's all fantastic." And I think that can be. I find that's often the case from family sometimes. Or, like you say, friends that aren't in the industry.
They just don't care.
They just sort of appease you. But someone that genuinely cares and wants you to progress and do well will just pull you up straight away when there's areas to improve on. So it's really, really important to have someone in your life like that.
100%.
And then, like you say, surrounding yourself in a circle of people like that, you pull each other up and bounce ideas off each other. So So tell me where the business is today.
So how many years? So 7 years in now. When I first got into this, I always said I wanted to work with athletes. Obviously, I want to work with the general public too, but my goal was always to work with footballers and athletes at a high level. That seemed like a very, very distant dream at the time, but I never really gave up on it. And I can safely say now I'm in a position where I'm working with a lot more athletes, a lot more footballers. Got all the shirts on the walls and stuff now, so that's good. I can confidently say now that I'm busy now, but one thing I always say, which I got from the Wolf of Wall Street, everybody wants something for nothing, and I'm not innocent of that. I thought I'd get success within 6 months. I remember when I first became a PT, I thought, right, I'm qualified, I'm going to walk in the gym, I'm going to get 5 clients from Instagram, I'll get 5 from the gym floor, they're now paying me £300 each, and I'm going to have all this money, and I'm going to buy a car, but it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. So I was the same with massage. I thought it would happen quick, but it didn't. But the importance of mentorship, he told me you've got to be patient. Another thing he told me was you can only sell shit once, which is true. And people can smell desperation, and people can smell money hungry people from a mile away. So that was another thing which was tough for me because I needed money at the time, but I had to pretend like I didn't. So I was all about the service, but in the long run, it helped the business grow, and it's in a good place now. I'm looking at expanding, so one day I like to have a bigger unit that belongs to myself, not renting from people anymore. Maybe get a few more therapists working for me, but that's a sticky one too because you don't want to bring people in who aren't as good. They might damage the brand, so that's another thing to think about. Work with more athletes, maybe bring the athletes to my unit and work with them. So that's the end goal. But currently, I'll be lying if I said I wasn't happy with where it is. But you always want more. I always want more, so you're never satisfied. I think a businessman or woman is never satisfied with where they are. They always want more. I think even Jeff Bezos, he's probably thinking, "There's more. I could do more." I want Amazon on the moon or something like that. So that's something that I've always had in the back of my mind, and I think that's probably comes from athletics, sprinting, because it's quite toxic in some ways. You can run a PB, but all you're thinking about is I want to run faster. And I think that's the transition to business for me. You achieve something great and you want more, which some could argue is toxic, others will argue is beneficial, but I just want more. I always want more.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you handle it. Obviously, as long as you appreciate what you've got, wanting more is not going to be toxic. I think it's just when you're wanting more and more and more, and it's making you sort of miserable and sort of resentful rather than hungry for more, then that's when it can be toxic. But also I think in this culture as well, especially social media, everything just seems to be instant. Like there seems to be like overnight successes all the time, but actually what people don't realise is that these overnight successes are a result of years and years and years and years and years and years of consistent work that people don't see, and then it finally has a breakthrough moment. So that's something that takes some time to learn, I think, when you're first starting out, especially being self-employed, because you see all these people around you and you just think, oh, they're so successful, how have they just managed to do that overnight? And then if you delve into their story, it's just been years of hard work.
Years of graft, years, sometimes decades in some cases.
So what would you say to people who are starting out and are feeling a little bit frustrated that they're not necessarily getting the overnight success?
Well, firstly, I'd say scrap the overnight success thing. I'd say get out of your head. I would also say to them is, what was said to me was, are you doing it for money or are you doing it to help people? So whether that's PT or massage, and if you're more pushing towards money, then you need to have a sit down and reevaluate. I'm not going to sit here and say, no one's in it for the money, because money makes the world go round, and ultimately we do want to make more money. It's just the way as humans we are wired, it's just resources. But you need to have a mindset of you want to help people, and that will help you grow. But if I was to give anybody new advice now, I would say get a mentor, whether it's your gym manager, whether it's a PT that you've seen online that you respect, or anyone and even if they don't reply to your DMs, drive to their gym and ask to see it, whatever it may be. Extract a mentor, even if you have to pay them a little bit of money, get a mentor, because it helped me so much. And the second thing I would say is, are you doing absolutely everything in your power to help yourself be visible? For example, there was a mentor we had at Rivers called Rick Moylan. Shout out Rick Moylan, great guy. And he said to me once, I remember, sometimes he used to take me out of the room and chat to me. He used to come from Manchester, and I used to message him a lot. And once he sat with me upstairs in the rooms in Rivers, and he said to me, Rian, when you walk into the gym, how long does it take you to get from point A to point B? And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, if you're a PT or massage therapist and you've done your job right and people respect you, then it will take you forever to get from point A to point B, because people are going to want to speak to you. They're like, oh, Rian, how was your weekend? How's things? How's the kids? How's family? People want to talk to you. So once you talk to one person, you talk to another person. Because what he was basically saying to me is, are you working the floor? Are you talking to people? If you don't do that, because if they don't know you, if they don't know anything about you, you don't build a rapport with them, then they're not going to know to use you. Listen, he goes, social media is good, it's free, it's a good use of marketing, but there's nothing that really benefits you more than the human touch, just general interaction. We're human beings, it's how we are. It's just the way we want to be social. That's why so many people struggled in lockdown, myself included. So that's what I would say to any young PT, any young therapist. If they're in a gym especially, I will literally say to them, are you working the floor? Are you talking to everybody? I said, your socials are good, but just do 20, 30, 40 people in the gym know you. They look at you and go, oh, I know him or I know her, she's cool, she speaks to me. Because it might take months, it might take days, but if someone needs a massage or they need a PT, they're like, oh yeah, Hannah, she's cool, yeah, she spoke to me the other day, she chats to me every time I see her, so I'm going to chat to her, and it just grows that way.
Or if they know someone that needs that service, because they know you on a one-on-one basis. And people always remember how you've made them feel.
Correct.
And people want to be seen and listened to, and that's part of providing good service. And if you're going to provide good service, you can get good business from that, and it's going to grow from referrals as well. I think in this industry, there's a lot of salespeople rather than actually providing a good service. There's a lot of people that will give a good sales pitch, but don't provide that service. That's something that's also quite tricky. Do you find that quite a lot in the therapy industry as well?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I remember I used to scroll on Instagram a lot, probably in 2022, when I was like in this sort of limbo stage of like it's not like failing, it's not growing. I was like just stuck in the middle. The way the algorithm works, it just must have clocked it. It just kept sending me all these sales people telling me, oh, we're going to get you from 5 referrals to 150 in 1 week if you sign up with this amount of money. And sometimes I was tempted. I thought they can't be like this. I know it's bullshit, but it can't be that much bullshit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that. But another skill in life and business is filtering out the bullshit. Really,
Yeah.
Knowing when to say no. That's something I learned as well. Some people are just out there, they just literally just want your money, and you can smell it. And there were times on Instagram, or even in person, I have people coming here and offer me all these crazy referral schemes and how they, if you do this, I'll do that for you. But I just knew they were chatting shit.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. I just knew they were chatting shit, so I thought, nah, stay away from that one.
And like you said earlier, always take advice and listen to people that are in the position that you want to be in and have done what you want to do, not just some random person off the street that says. Because actions always speak louder than words.
They certainly do.
Results speak louder than just saying, something. So, tell me about a typical day in your life then.
Oh wow!
You work a lot. You work long hours. You work every day.
Yeah. Well, bloody hell. So, so I wake up usually late. I sit on my phone and don't doom scroll for about 15-20 minutes. Then I just come to the office or my treatment room, and I just massage all day, usually. So, say for example, if I was working 10 till like 7 or 8, most of them be back-to-backs. So in the bit of time I do have to myself, I'll either go to Asda across the road and get some food. But what I have started doing, probably the last year and a half, is just go to the sauna. I just love the sauna. It's like my downtime. So I literally will sometimes block time off on my calendar to go to the sauna. I'll drive there, spend about 20 minutes in there, but I just find it really mentally relaxing and stimulating and calming. It just, even though it's a bit of a contradiction, stimulation and calming, but I just find it I need it. I don't game as much as I used to. Everybody knows, like, I'm a massive gamer, I love it, but I don't really do it as much as I used to. I don't know why, maybe I just can't be bothered, I don't know, but that used to be my downtime. But no, so I just work in a sauna. And because I'm not training at the moment either, because that used to be a bit of a break between days, so now it's literally just work. I know it's really boring, but a day in the life is I wake up, I go to work late, and then just go home and watch Netflix or something like that. Yeah. But I enjoy my job. Like, I've had many jobs which I've hated, so that's why I don't mind working late, because I work with good people, nice people. I like to hear about their lives and their stories and stuff, and it makes me smile when if someone says to me, "Oh, Rian, I feel better." So that's kind of the place I'm in at the moment. But I'm just grafting as hard as I can to open my own gym. Yeah.
If you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Precisely. Yeah,
what's the worst job you've ever had?
Ooh,
Talking about jobs you used to hate, what's the worst one?
Oh wow. So I had a job. I worked in sales, which was it was terrible. It just wasn't for me. Yeah. It was not for me at all. It's actually, the old office is near Rivermead, the Rivermead gym. And whenever I drive past it, I literally get like PTSD. But
shudders.
Yeah, that shudders. It's bad. But listen, I know a lot of people who work in sales, it works well for them, but it just wasn't for me. And I wasn't getting paid the best amount of money. It was in the winter as well, so it was cold. I was waking up early to do a job I just didn't want to do. My brain wasn't really taking the information, so like they'd be trying to train me and I wasn't really listening. So when I was out on the floor, taking calls or making calls, I just didn't really know what I was doing, probably because subconsciously I didn't want to do it. But yeah, that job was tough. But it was my first real experience of the adult world, because that was after school and stuff like that. And I went from school and chilling to working. Like,
in the deep end.
Yeah, 8:30 to 5, no, 8:30 to 6, hour lunch break, job I hated. And I remember thinking, wow, is this life now? Like, is this what it is now?
This can't be more.
Yeah. I said, this cannot be. This is not it. This is not it. So that was the first one. And the second job I really didn't like. I used to work for a utilities company, which I'm not going to name. I had 2 jobs there. The first job was more admin, which was really fun. I enjoyed that. It was good people. We sat in like a weird, it was a weird setup. So like you'd be like back to back, but side to side with people. So you could talk to most people, and that was fun. The job was a bit boring, but the people made it bearable.
Yeah.
But that job was only, it was a contract, a short-term one. Then that job ended, and I got another role, full-time, permanent in the company, which was more of a reactive role, and I just hated it because it was just again, it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I knew I didn't want to be doing it. The people I worked with were really nice, but I just didn't like the job. And over time, I just started getting really bad at the job, and then I started having. Oh, nobody really said anything to me, but I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And I think I checked out 1 month in. I think I literally checked out. I was trying, but my brain was like, we're not on this, so let's just get out of it. So me and the manager had I checked out. Yeah, it's gone. I was gone. I was done. So me and my manager said, we just shook hands and we've done.
Yeah.
But those 2 jobs were horrendous. And I always think of those jobs when I'm having a long day in here.
Yeah.
Because I'm only human. There may be times when, for example, I've been working from a massage at 10, another at 11, another at 12, another at 1 at 3, 4. So I've had 5 back to back. So I'm a bit drained and I start getting a bit moody. But then I think back to those jobs and I think, nah, what are you moody about? You would have taken this then. So fix up.
I think, like you say, if you're having a difficult day, always look back at where you've come from.
Yeah.
And then that will make you feel so much better. Having gratitude for where you are now is always going to boost your mood.
Yeah, it did. It always does.
So being self-employed, obviously, you can work long hours, you can get into the habit of working all the time, but you talk about the sauna being sort of downtime. How important is it for you to have a work-life balance? How did you struggle with that when you first started out?
Yeah, I did, because I was, when I first started, because I was really quiet, I just used to open my hours up all day, so I was doing 8 in the morning till 10 p.m. basically, so anybody could book me between those hours. Because I just thought, well, if I pigeonhole myself to 9 to 5 and no weekends, it's not going to grow that way. I'm not in a position then. I wasn't in a position to do that, so I just opened up the doors. And as time got busier, but I was just sort of I wouldn't say blinded by the money, but I never really made much money up until around that sort of time. So I thought, I can't turn this down, I've got to keep working, this is more money than I've seen, I'm happy, I'm in a good place, let's just keep going. But that's when I learned as well, a work-life balance is very important. Listen, I enjoy working, but what I noticed with myself is when I would work too much, I get really irritable, I get really moody, I'd be a real problem with my friends, which I've highlighted to them and apologised to them about it. Just be even on Xbox, I'll just be really toxic. I'll just be saying the most horrendous stuff to people, just going at people. But it just wasn't. I just knew deep down after having a long think about it that work-life balance is so important.
Yeah.
A lot of people who I respect, physios who are busy, even PTs who are hella busy, they have boundaries. They're I don't work weekends.
Yeah.
Some of them I know, they're I do not work weekends. I could, and I could make a fortune, but I'm not doing it. I want to spend time with my family, I want to spend time with my friends, I just want to lay in bed and do nothing. And that's something I'm going to probably have to revisit soon, because I'm working a lot at the moment. But as I said at the start of the podcast, I love F1. I might start taking F1, the days the F1's on, I might just take it off and say I'm going to sit and watch the F1 all day. It's something I might have to have a think about, but work-life balance is very important. But I also understand that some people, they have goals and they believe if I want to achieve this goal, I'm going to have to just graft for 2 months at a time, 3 months at a time, whatever it may be. But I will strongly recommend to people have a very good work-life balance, otherwise you just be miserable. Nobody wants to be miserable.
Yeah, it's a fine line to balance, because obviously you want to work hard to achieve those goals. And sometimes it can feel, if you're not working towards that, you're not being productive. But actually it's a lot more productive to take a step back, recover, refresh, and then go back to it with a fresh perspective and just feeling better in yourself. Because what I found in the past, especially when I first started out, I was working stupid hours.
I remember
12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week, for weeks on end. And I would work until I burnt out and just got ill, so I physically couldn't work. You just can't live like that.
You can't.
So you almost have to be like really disciplined. And I say this to clients as well who work a lot, just be disciplined with your downtime. And people say, oh no, I don't have time. You do if you factor in that time, like scheduling your downtime, like you were saying with your sauna, blocking it out in your calendar, because it's going to be much more beneficial in the long run.
100%, no, I agree, massively agree with that,
So tell me about your client base. I know you say you work with a lot of athletes. What kind of athletes? Do you work with a lot of general population as well? What kind of people come to you?
I'd probably say 80% of them are general public, just people who hurt their back at the gym, or they have stiff shoulders from work. A lot of mums, dealing with kids and stuff like that. So the majority of it is the general public, and they're your bread and butter, to be fair. Obviously, marketing is about positioning, so I wanted to position myself to work with athletes. But you will always have the general public, because the general public make up 95% of the population. So it just probably more than that actually. So it just makes sense to have them in your client books. And I like working with general public. It's not like I don't like working with people, like I do. Like, you learn a lot about people. They teach you things, you can teach them things. So that's a big part of it. But I'd say I now start to get a lot more footballers, a lot of academy players, got a couple of pros now. Some people I go to visit them mobile visits, which I don't mind doing as well. But that is the general, like, RCF clientele, really. I had a lot of bodybuilders at one point as well. I still have a lot of them actually. I got a lot of them, but that was through word of mouth, I think. I just used to just beat up bodybuilders and then they tell other people, and then I got a lot of them. But a lot of athletes, like general athletes too, so footballers, as in Sunday League footballers, tennis players, people who play tennis, bodybuilders, like I just said. I get a lot of people, but every client is a lesson, the way I look at it. Like, if I haven't worked with somebody who has a certain condition or a certain issue and I haven't seen it before, alright, let's work, see what happens, how can I help? If it doesn't work, I'll hold my hands up and say I think you should go elsewhere, but if I think I can help them, then it's it's a string to the bow sort of thing. So
makes things interesting.
Correct.
Okay, so tell us about your athletic background, and let's delve into a little bit about that, because obviously working with athletes is something you're passionate about, probably stemming from your own background in athletics.
Okay, so so I got into sprinting when I was about 10, 11 years old. And that was not fast at all. I was not quick. I wanted to be quick, but I was just so dead. I was so bad. Like, I used to get beat by everybody at school. Like, I mean, not everybody. I was like in the top 10, but I wasn't particularly fast. But I just loved the sport. I used to train at Palmer Park, and I just loved it. I loved the sport, but I wasn't good. And then I turned 16, so it was year 11. I didn't get any bigger. I didn't have a growth spurt. I don't know what happened. I must have just got stronger. I started producing more testosterone, and I just went from like here to here. And I got really, really fast in comparison to how I was before. And I was running really well. And that's where the love of athletics come from, really, because I went from being trash to decent. And that was a real learning curve as well, because I was one of those stupid kids who thought, now I've gotten here, I don't have to work to stay there.
Okay.
So I thought that I could just, go and just be an idiot and I can come back to training and still run fast, but it doesn't work that way. So I started slowing down, but because when you're young, you can slow down, you can get back. So like there were years when I was here, then I fall down here, then I come back here, so on and so forth. So I went to some cool competitions, went to something called English Schools, which is like, you represent the county your school's in, and it's like, it's not as bougie now, but back then it was big time. It's like the Olympics for kids, basically. you represent the county your school's in, you go against other counties, and it's just carnage. It's like a massive party. Like it was like on TV and stuff. It was on Sky Sports. Yeah, it was sick. Like I couldn't quite believe what was happening when I was there. So that was a big part of my life, because I remember, like I said, the year before I was trash. Like I was not good, and then I went from that to go into this competition, meeting all these different people, being on TV, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And they say you should sink or swim. And sadly, I sank. I was just arrogant and thought I could keep running well and didn't without training hard. Anyway, I had a couple of years out, come back in 2017, started training in Basingstoke, and I had a few injuries along the way, but I always had a goal to run sub 11, and I did it in 2021 finally. It took years, but I got there in the end. And that's kind of the journey for me, because but the thing with track, any athlete will tell you, the lessons it teaches you are just insane. Like you cannot improve unless you graft, which is what I put into my business. Like unless you're stupidly talented, you just will not improve. Like even Usain Bolt was one of the most talented, if not the most talented. He will still tell you he had to graft. If you don't graft, you don't turn up in the cold or in the heat, the snow or the frost, whatever it may be. If you don't turn up, you won't improve. And those are kind of things I took from track, the lessons I took from track, and put them into practice for the business, and that's where we are now. But it's a big part of my life, and I really like it. And I used to get massages then, and I started to learn the importance of recovery for athletes. That goes for any athlete as well. It's not just athletics, it's football, bodybuilding, whatever it may be. And that's kind of what led me to want to work with athletes more. But that was my grounding, the background from track. But that's pretty much where we got to.
Yeah, I think it's always the skills and life lessons you learn from sports, like the discipline and the work and the balancing and everything like that. It's always transferable to everything. That's why I think I always see when clients are new to the gym and start in the gym, it just impacts their entire lives. And I expect you experience that with your clients as well. When they start taking charge of their recovery, it's going to improve their home life, their professional life, their relationships and all of that as well. So it's all transferable.
Man.
So obviously this podcast talks about fitness, mindset and just navigating life. So we're going to break it down into the number one lesson you would say to people in each of those areas.
Okay.
So first of all, what would be your biggest lesson or advice to someone in regards to fitness?
What, as in improving a fitness goal or something like that?
Yeah, just in the
biggest lesson, what I learned or I could give someone, or
what would you say to someone?
I know it sounds so cliche, but just work hard.
Yeah.
That's honestly, like hard work pays off. It always does. And it doesn't happen overnight as well, which we said before. It might take 5 years, it might take 5 months, it might take 10 years. Like I said I wanted to run sub 11 in 2006 and I did it in 2021.
Yeah.
That's 15 years it took me basically to get there. I mean, I made a lot of stupid decisions, but I just grafted. I worked really hard and I got there in the end. So that's the number one lesson. It just works with all aspects in life as well, like business, fitness, life, family life, whatever it may be. If you work hard, you will be rewarded.
Yeah, just consistent effort.
Yeah,
and it can be hard because being consistent can actually seem quite boring as well sometimes because you're just doing the same thing every day, and sometimes it feels like you're banging your head against a wall and you're not getting anywhere. But if you stop, you don't know if the next step's going to be that breakthrough moment. You should just never give up until you've achieved your goals. You can always achieve what you want to. We just don't know how long that's going to take.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in terms of mindset, how important is mindset to you, and what's the number one piece of advice you give in relation to mindset?
Yeah, mindset is very important actually. That's something I learned over the years of doing all this. You just got to back yourself. Like, listen, there were times when I was like, okay, am I ever going to get athletes in here? Am I ever going to get footballers in here? Am I ever going to, get some sort of affiliation, whatever it may be? But I always knew in my head, just like in the back of my head, this could be from my sprinting. I just back myself. like all sprinters, when they're on the line, when they're in a good place, they believe they'll win the race. And that's how I feel with my business too. And that's the mindset I've always taken into it. I've always believed that I'd be busy. I always believed that it would grow. I always believed that I would get athletes in here. Like, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but if you don't back yourself, then what are you doing? You know? If you don't believe, if you're not delusional sometimes, like with things, then you know it's not going to happen. If you don't believe it will happen, then no one will. You know, you've got to look after number one. So I'll just say back yourself, even if it's privately or externally. You know, you might do it externally. People might think you're cocky. That's part of life. But some of the most cocky people out there have done pretty well for themselves. So I'd say you've got to back yourself. Just back yourself. Believe that you can do it. Believe that you can have a 20 clients in a month. Believe that you can run a certain time. Just believe that you will lift a certain way. Whatever it may be, is just believe it, and you're halfway there.
Have you ever experienced any times where you've struggled with your self-belief or doubted yourself?
Oh yeah.
How have you built up a sort of resilient self-belief? Because that can be sometimes quite hard to do.
So I remember in, as you laugh about it now, but I remember it must have been, I think it was just before I got in, it was just before I got injured. It was like January 2021, December 2020. I noticed that the massage world was getting a bit more saturated, a lot more therapists popping up, which is fine, you know, it's just part of life. It wasn't bothering me massively. But because I was relatively new myself, and I wasn't as established, I did build up a bit of a client base, but I remember I literally lost all of them in the space of like 2 weeks. They just all went to all these new people are popping up, they were all going to new people. And there were probably a few things I wasn't doing right. For example, I probably could have been a bit better with booking their appointments. I could have been a bit better with the way I was. I could have been a bit more punctual. There's all sorts of things I could have done. But it went from literally having a steady flow to just the flow being cut. And I thought, okay, they'll come back. And they just didn't for ages. And it rattled me massively. To the point I remember actually going on Instagram and I would see my old clients. I'll just be scrolling and I see my old clients with other therapists, and that was tough to see. Yeah, I was like, oh dear, how the hell am I going to get myself out of this one? So I rang up my Roddy mentor. I was like, Roddy, I've lost all my clients. Like, what the hell? And he goes to me. I always remember. He goes, good. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, Roddy, what do you mean good? And he goes, well, it's going to happen again. Like, everybody goes through quiet periods, but how are you going to handle this now? How are we going to get you out of this? And he gave me some advice, and he just talked to me. He just said, listen, don't take it personally. You can't take it personally. That's a lesson. That's another thing I actually might tell other PTs and therapists. Like, when you lose a client, even barbers, whatever, when you lose a client, you can't take it personally. They have their reasons. They might not vibe with you. They might have moved away, they might not have any money, they might have got it there's always a reason, but you just can't take it personally, and that's something he told me, which was tough to put into practice, because I was so close to messaging people, going, where have you gone, you know, but I've always maintained never to do that, I never chase clients, I don't want to come across salesy. Losing all those people in such a short space of time, and it felt like it went on forever, was very difficult. It rattled me, and I didn't really know how to get out of it. I thought, what do I do? Am I patient? Do I start pushing Instagram more? Do I start working more Sainsbury's just to cover it? But I just stuck to like my beliefs really. I kept posting. I kept doing marketing, so the flyers, networking is a big thing in life as well. And eventually, it started to grow again. And I also started getting, ironically, the people who left me started coming back, because they were like, Rian, listen, I left you for this person, but it wasn't really what I wanted. Like, I'm back now. But yeah, that was tough. But it did build resilience in me, I have to say. That comes from track as well, because a big thing with athletics is you can't run well all the time. You just can't. Like, nobody runs well all year. By your standards. By someone else, it's all relative, you know, like, an athlete might run, I might look at an athlete's profile and think, yeah, that's a good year. But he might be thinking, nah, I'm only happy with 4 races. All athletes think that way, and if you were to let it get to you, it will just like rip you apart. So you've got to develop this element of resilience. I've trained in the snow, I've trained in the frost, I've done hill sprints, like -4 before. So I do have an element of resilience in me. So that helped me too. But I'm not going to sit here and act like it didn't fuck with my head, because it did. It did massively fuck with my head. Like I'd just be like lying on the massage bed, like just sat there, like looking at the ceiling, going, how am I
contemplating life.
Literally, yeah. Like, oh, should I just fucking go and do Sainsbury's full time? So yeah, but yeah, it was tough. But yeah, I developed resilience from it, and yeah, we got there. We managed to dig ourselves out of that hole.
And self-belief, I think, comes from overcoming those challenging times and sticking to what you're saying you're going to do. If you say you're going to do something, do it, because every time you don't do that, you're breaking a promise to yourself, and you're undermining your own confidence and your own abilities. So just pushing through. It's not always comfortable, because obviously when things are going wrong, it can feel like, I just want to give up on everything and run away. But that's just going to make you feel worse in the long run. So.
Yeah, correct.
So what's the number one piece of just general life advice you'd give anyone? On navigating life, because it does have its challenges.
Oh god, it does, yeah.
Just the number one life advice you always bring yourself back to.
You know what I'm going to say? It's mainly aimed at everybody, it's mainly aimed at men. When you're feeling shit, there's no shame in talking to people about it. Because, I'm a man, we've all been the same. We're like, no, I'm fine, I don't need to talk to anybody. But over the years of massaging people, women and men, especially women, because they tell me about their partners and they just say their men don't want to talk, and then they just bottle it up, and then it just explode further down the line. I've done the same thing. I kept it all inside, and it just erupted, just exploded. It's not healthy. So I would just say, there's no shame talking to people. There's no shame getting advice. There's absolutely no shame in just sitting down and having a chat with someone who means a lot to you, someone you trust, and just say to them, listen, mate, I don't feel great. Or on the flip side, you say, mate, things are going really well, and I want to talk to you about it. And a good friend would never have an issue with talking to you about your low points or your high points, trials and tribulations. That's definitely something I would say, that's what I would go with, because I wish I spoke to people more when I was in a bit of a shit place, but you just keep it internal. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's why I think that's part of the reason why I like massage so much, because when sometimes people offload to me about things, and it makes me think, I wish I did that when I was younger. I wish when I felt this way, I just spoke to someone. So, and sometimes I feel honoured that people are happy to tell me this stuff. I never really repeat what people tell me. No. So but that's the best advice I'll give people.
That's good advice. And someone that cares about you is going to want you to talk to them about how you feel. So never feel like you're a burden to someone, because someone's actually going to want to know how you're feeling. But then if you don't feel comfortable talking to a close friend or family, there's so many services out there now, online therapy and all that kind of thing.
Of course,
Like you say, people open up to you because obviously you're their therapist, but you're not integrated into their personal life, so you're almost like an impartial person they can talk to. So just talk to anyone. So that's good advice.
Offload, man.
So just tell people where they can find you.
Right, so I've got Instagram. That's my main point of contact. It's just Rianimal. It's a really stupid nickname I made for myself when I was 11.
It's catchy though.
I'll
link it below.
Please, Rianimal. I've got my website, Rian Corbin Fitness .co.uk, and those are the main two. If you were to message me on any of those, that's where you find me. But Instagram's my main thing. There's all sorts of stuff on there, videos I've made and pictures I've had taken and clients, and even look at a little bit of personal stuff as well. But but that's how you get me. That's how you get me.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being on.
No problem. It's been good. Enjoyed it.
Make sure you give me a follow, and I'll catch you on the next one.